Hello and welcome to my first video on these gas-powered mobility scooters. Today I'm going to be starting the process of building that one. I'll show you what I've done to that one, and I'm essentially going to do the same thing to that little green one there, and I'll show you what my buddy's doing with that red one. I think you guys will find it pretty cool. Well, first I'll show you a walk around. Essentially, this is a little three-wheeled mobility scooter. Essentially what I've done, it's kind of hard to see with the engine in the way, is I've stripped it flat and then mounted up the engine, and I've done a chain drive, centrifugal clutch chain drive to a jack shaft, does a gear reduction, goes down to the one wheel drive axle, so you can see there. And we've got our second wheel that just spins along. I've got a brake here, but what I would like to do essentially with this one is do a solid axle, so both wheels are driven and both wheels also have brakes. So we'll see what we can do with that one. So I think what we'll start off by doing is we'll get these other two out of the way, two red ones, and we'll start tearing down that one. We'll put an engine up next to it and we'll see what happens. Well, now that we've got that all the way, we can take a look at what we're looking at here. So essentially, I'm going to remove all of this. We're going to build an axle very similar to that. It will focus like that. And essentially do the same jack shaft system we have on here, except instead of cutting it in half, just be solid axle. And we'll see how that goes, because it is three-wheel drive. So I'm hoping that as you turn, one wheel will slide because it'll shift the weight to one side. But I guess we'll see. So I'm just going to quickly remove all this stuff down flat, and we'll kind of see where the engine fits up. Well, here's where we're at. I'm going to attempt to use the differential in the engine. And this may be a complete failure, but I've welded this sprocket here to the electric motor. So now I'll have a differential. And I guess we'll see if that works or if I just blow it up. And here's the power plant. It's off a 2-inch water pump, I believe. And it's just going to have the same thing, centrifugal clutch. Ben's working on his. And yeah, we'll get some of this cleaned up, get some of it cut off, and we'll see where it goes. Well, this is where we got to today. I decided that we're going to give this setup a go before we just remake a second one of these, where it's just a jack shaft to an axle. We're going to go ahead and try and use the original differential and axle from the original mobility scooter. And so this is, I think, where we're ending up. I took the plastics off and cut off those old seat posts. Essentially what I'm going to do is use another one of those crates, and the seat will go on top of it there. And we're just going to give this a spin. I'm going to get it just together just enough for it to work, to see if this actually works before I finish everything. Because we've never attempted to use the original. I've just welded a sprocket onto the end of an electric motor. So, and then we'll get a clutch on there and just a chain. Nothing's really assembled right now, but I just wanted to see what it would look like. But I think that's all for day one, so that's on to day two. I forgot to show you guys what Finn's was looking like yesterday, but this is what it's looking like. He's got a big 223cc, I believe, or 222, just a little bit bigger than that 110 that I've got over there, and then that one's a 170. He's got a CVT, which we've tested that out on the go-kart. They are amazing, and then the bigger version on what we call biggest longest there also has a much bigger CVT on it because it's 3/4 inch, or maybe 1 inch out. I don't know. It's a bigger output shaft. But basically this is what he's got. He was going to do a differential, but he was having issues with it binding, so I think he's just going to do either a jack shaft or it's just going to go straight to the axle. But I guess we'll have to see. He's not in today, so I guess we'll see where that goes in the next episode. And we're back for day 2 of the scooter build. So I think for my goal today, I would like this to at least move under its own power. I think it is very doable. I got a throttle cable. I just need to find a clutch and some chain in our magical pile of parts over here, which I believe we have lots of number 35 chain and a clutch. Because that's what we used to use when we first built that little quad there. But then we upgraded to the number 40 chain for everything else that we did pretty much. So we'll go ahead and take the engine off and we'll get this frame welded at least into one piece, and then we'll figure out where this engine's gonna go and how we're gonna mount it. Alrighty, so I think we got all the parts we're gonna need to make this thing move today. We're using, it's pretty ironic, a brake lever as the throttle cable, number 35 chain. This clutch is very worn, but it'll work for our purposes today because really I just want to see if this differential is going to blow up or not. Well, there we got the 2 sections welded up, and I kind of cleaned up as much as I could. I'll come back with material remover disc and clean that up a little bit. But now I guess we can see where that engine's going to fit up. And I'd say this is pretty sturdy. Even just with the one post, I was worried looking at it, but that's all my weight bouncing on it. And it's holding pretty good. So once I put a engine mount plate on it somewhere around there, it'll stiffen it up even more. So I think structurally it seems pretty okay. Okay, I gave the engine a little test start. I just had to take the air filter off and spray some brake parts cleaner in there, and then it fired right up. It's been sitting for a couple months now. So anyways, we got it just sitting on the chassis there, and I put the clutch on it. I had to clean up the output shaft a little bit. It's a little crusty. You can see there's just broken bolt, but that fits on there pretty snug. We got the chain lined up, so pretty much that is what it's gonna look like. I'm just lining the chain up here to kind of see where the bolt holes for the motor are gonna be. For now, I'll insert the clip here, but the first one, before I even put the seat on, we were just sitting on the gas tank scooting around in the parking lot. Be on my way to the 250 convention. So it'll pretty much, I can just sit right here on the edge of the gas tank and give it a little spin. Well, now I have this cut and ground down. Let's weld it on using movie magic. Wow, wasn't that just the best transition you've ever seen? And with the holes marked, I began drilling. It's important to note that we have a history of saying 2 hardwares is good, 3 is better, and 4 is, well, imaginary pretty much. So we'll see how many hardwares fit. Well, this is definitely a first. All 4 hardwares, well, maybe it's not a first, but all 4 hardwares lined up pretty much perfectly. My only problem is that I've drilled the holes just a little too close to the frame, and this one won't get a nut on it. So I think 3 hardwares will do for now. Alrighty, so we got the engine mounted. We got a chain cut to size. I've already noticed our first problem. You can see the flex in that motor. It's because it's not meant to have tension on it, that like how I've got it. I don't think that worked. Anyways, I think that's going to be the end of this video. I've got to go to Princess Auto and spend $1 bajillion on all the bits and odds and ends to actually build that thing into a proper machine. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching me mess around with this. I definitely, you saw a smile on my face just putting in circles. But yeah, I do stuff like this all the time, so I figured, well, the heck, I'll document it this time, and we'll see what happens there. So stay tuned. Maybe in a week or so, I'll get all the parts together and start building that one and turning it into that red one. But yeah, cheers.